Struggling with self-limiting beliefs? Doubting yourself? Have you looked into neurolinguistic programming or NLP, but you're just not quite sure what it is or how to use it? Watch this video to discover how you can eliminate self-limiting beliefs using a simple NLP technique. For the best leadership tips and entrepreneur advice to help you fearlessly step into your power, build your empire, and crown yourself, subscribe to this YouTube channel and be sure to hit the bell to be notified when a new video goes live every Tuesday and Friday. Hello, I'm Kimberly Spencer, high performance coach and founder of crownyourself.com. And have I got a story of shifting self-limiting beliefs for you. You see, I'd come up with the idea for Crown Yourself back in 2014 when I was on my honeymoon. But prior to that, I'd just gone through 3 months of dealing with lawyers and a buyout that really kind of made me question everything. So there I was with this new business, and I immediately got to work in what I call productive procrastination. I was doing all the things, and I was buying the domain name and building the website and buying the filming gear, and yet for 1.5 years in my business made no money. Why is that? Because as a leader, I was stuck in my own self-limiting beliefs. See if any of these sound familiar. I felt I wasn't capable enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't worthy enough. I questioned if I even deserved to have a business since I felt like I'd failed. I felt like I'd lost my e-commerce company to my former business partner. So I even questioned if I even deserved to even have the title of entrepreneur or CEO or business owner. I felt like a failure, a fraud, an imposter, a up, and my life reflected that. I was constantly playing small. I was stuck in this cycle of blame, shame, and complaining about my life. And that's when I found out I was pregnant. And I knew somewhere deep inside that this person that I was, this identity that I'd created with all the self-limiting beliefs of doubt and shame and deserving and worthiness, that really wasn't me, and that was just a bunch of self-limiting beliefs. That really what needed to change was my mindset. And I totally knew I could do it because I'd already reprogrammed my mindset from 10 years of bulimia into absolutely loving my body, loving food, and frickin' being married to an almost chef. That was when I found NLP, and I became obsessed with the subconscious mind and all the ways that we can eliminate our self-limiting beliefs that hold us back. Fast forward nearly 4 years later, and I have transformed my own life, now being able to live in Australia as a digital nomad with my family, having a business that I love, but I've also been able to transform countless other mindsets from the self-limiting beliefs that were holding them back. The ripple effect is massive. So what is NLP? And why does it work? NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It was developed in the 1970s by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Basically, it's the study of the programming of excellence and how to replicate it. Let's break it down. 3, 2, 1. Neuro means your mind. Yes, that big, beautiful brain. You know, the thing that your crown sits on. And it's also the rest of you. Wait, what? In 1989, Dr. Deepak Chopra, in his book, Quantum Healing, stated that neurotransmitters bathe every single cell in your body. Neurotransmitters are basically chemical messengers. They transmit signals across a chemical synapse, such as a neuromuscular junction, from one neuron in a nerve cell to another target neuron in a muscle or glandular cell. This is literally the mind-body connection. So your subconscious mind, this neuro part, your mind, runs your entire body. So yes, as a high-performance coach certified in neurolinguistic programming and NLP coaching, I work with the mind and I work with the rest of you because you have neurotransmitters on every single cell of your body. And I work with the mind-body connection, or as I like to call it at Crown Yourself, the mind-body business connection. Having coached leaders and high achievers now for the past 5 years, and having been a Pilates instructor for the past 13 years, I can definitely say that I have noticed that the body is one of the most underutilized and yet greatest leadership assets that you got. It is working with this mind-body connection, the neuro part of neurolinguistic programming, that I've been able to help a client's pain symptomology go from a 9 to a 2. Next, we have linguistic. This is basically your language, the language that you speak to others and the language that you speak to yourself. You know, that little voice you hear sometimes in your head. Sometimes she's not always the nicest, is she? Like Nelson Mandela said, you cannot speak anything but what you are. The language you use, both when you're speaking about others or to others, or about yourself or to yourself, yeah, remember that little voice? It leaves clues as to the patterns and programming that you currently have. And this is both the programming that you have that's working successfully in your life and the programming that's got a few glitches as well. You know, like some self-limiting beliefs. Your language is a direct command to consciousness itself. So as a coach, when I'm in a session with a client, I'm listening to the exact words that they're using that's creating their model of the world, or the model or the structure of the beliefs that they live in, both the ones that are serving them and the ones that are limiting them. Psychologist Carl Jung, in his book, The Undiscovered Self, states that we attach labels or language to our reality to try to explain it and make sense of it, which is the function of the conscious mind, to try to make sense of all the things that the subconscious is absorbing. The problem is, as we attach labels to our perception of reality, we start to identify with the perception instead of with reality itself. We start to associate with the label or our language or around the perception that we've created of what we define to be reality, rather than or in spite of reality itself. So let's take a really common example. Let's say, for example, you attach the label of bad with money. Maybe you did this because somebody in your childhood stole from you, or maybe your father or your mother was bad with money. So in some way in your developmental years, you attach this label of bad with money. But is that ultimately true? Is money bad? Is money bad? No! Money is just a tool. It has no morality. For a deeper dive on how money is a tool, be sure to watch this episode of the 7 entrepreneurship lessons that my dad taught me. So this is where the divide between your subconscious mind and all that programming and your conscious goals comes into contradiction. So let's say you want to make more money. You have a goal to make more money, and yet you are associating subconsciously, using your language, money as being bad. Well, you don't want to be a bad person. So making more money, if you still have that programming, is going to directly conflict with bad. We got to rewire that, which brings us to programming. People are systems. We have loads and loads of unconscious or subconscious, whatever you want to call it, programming built up from birth, from society, from our family, from friends, from our teachers, from generations. So much programming. Think about it. When was the last time you took a different route to work or felt a different way when you were sitting at your computer? So often we get stuck in these habitual patterns or programs that we just run unconsciously. Odds are you probably took the same route to work. Just like odds are you probably sat down at your computer feeling the same way that you normally do on a regular basis. Studies show 95 to 97% of what you do is subconscious, meaning it's your subconscious programming. This is why willpower is highly overrated and motivation doesn't really just work by itself. Think about it this way. If you were betting on a boxing match and you had the champion who had a 95 to 97% chance of winning, and then the challenger who had maybe a 3 to 5% chance of winning, who would you bet on? Well, you'd probably bet on the champion, the one who consistently wins. That is our subconscious mind. So when it comes to self-limiting beliefs, here's the beautiful part. It's not you, it's your pattern. Just like you don't blame the hardware of your computer when your software gets a little glitchy, it's the software that needs some tweaking. And so that is what NLP does, is it helps to tweak that software. When you can look at the subconscious programming that people don't even know is running their lives, you can actually find patterns of success and programming that you can then use to adopt to fit other areas of your life. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What self-limiting belief has been holding you back the most? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, we all got them. And so here is one very simple linguistic tip that you can adopt right away to start shifting that subconscious programming and betting on yourself and your subconscious mind as the champion. Change a statement of identity into a statement of feeling or having. Statements of identity are statements of I am. I am a failure. I am a bad mom. I am a success. I am a great mom. These statements direct the programming that you're reinforcing in your brain. So instead of a statement of identity, which has a level of permanence to it, shift your statement into one of having or feeling if what you're having or feeling is negative. If you feel like a success, keep on feeling like a success. If you believe you are a success, keep on stating it that way. But if you're feeling something negative, like feeling like a failure, or feeling like a fraud, or feeling like a bad mom, or feeling like a bad business owner, or feeling guilty, or feeling shame, or feeling depressed, use the language to shift the behavior from the identity. Remember, it's not you, it's your programming. What this NLP tip does is it separates the identity of who you are from the behavior that is happening. So for example, instead of saying, I am a failure, you would say, I feel like a failure. You see, statements of feeling or having are statements that diminish the permanence. We know we don't feel a certain way all the time, just like we don't always have something all the time. Subconsciously, we're fully aware that we're not having or feeling something all the time. We don't live in one feeling or one emotion. There is a variance to it. We can feel happy by watching a great cat video. We can feel inspired by watching an inspirational YouTube video or listening to a great podcast like The Princess and the Bee. Feelings are temporary. Having is also temporary. When you have a cold, you don't walk around saying, I am a cold. Though sometimes we walk around saying, I am sick. Well, what's that saying to your subconscious mind? Your subconscious mind that, by the way, is always listening. Instead, shift that statement from I am sick to I feel sick. Shift that statement from I am a failure to I feel like a failure. When you shift a statement of identity from I am to a statement of I have or I feel, I'd like to suggest that you can actually shorten the timeline for how long you have that negative emotion or you have that negative feeling. From the age of 12 to 22, I struggled with bulimia. And what sped up my recovery was doing this simple NLP technique that I didn't even know I was doing, but changing my statements of identity from I am bulimic to I have bulimia. It took away the permanence of this diagnosis. It took away the perception that this was the thing that was going to be with me forever. And in 2 years of shifting that language around the thing that was no longer going to be with me forever, I transformed into absolutely loving my body and now being married to a man who cooks wonderful things and brings home flourless chocolate cake from cooking school. You can have something one day. You can feel something in one moment, but it's not defining the identity of who you are as a whole. And that simple linguistic shift can change everything. Now you have one tip for how to eliminate self-limiting beliefs using NLP. For more tips on how to reprogram your subconscious mind, be sure to subscribe to the Princess and the Bee podcast on your favorite podcast hosting platform in order to reprogram all of the beliefs on your rise to becoming the queen or king of your dream life. And if you want to join a community of fellow sovereigns who are showing up, standing out, and serving from their soul, be sure to jump into our Crown Yourself community on Facebook. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe and share it with your friends. As always, my fellow sovereigns, own your throne, mind your business, because your reign is now. Check out these videos next on how to kick fear off your throne and show up with more confidence in your business. Beliefs. Beliefs. Eliminating the limiting beliefs. Limiting the limiting beliefs.